I don't know what else to say there. Agreeable review. Oh, now Malwarebytes is notifying me. 40% off standard antivirus. I don't care. Yeah. So, in terms of what's going to happen next around here, when it comes to Metroid content, like, my priority is still getting through all the Prime games, because, like, leading up to Metroid Prime 4. Let's see here. I'll just open that again. In the meanwhile, we can listen to, like, the cool music again. This is what we can do. All that's really left in the Metroid series on this channel is the rest of the Prime games, and then other M that I can do whenever I feel like it, sometime after all the Prime crap is done. There is technically the original Prime 1 and 2, but because I covered their remakes, I count that as, like, done, covered. So, I won't have every single Metroid game ever made covered on the channel, but at least the most recent instance of each game will be covered, is my plan. So, all the 2D games are done. We did Metroid 1 to 5. Other M is, like, its own thing, and we're making good progress on Prime. We've done Prime 1, we've done Prime Hunters, and now we've done Prime 2. Prime Hunters did technically release after Prime 2, so if I was doing them in release order, I would do it, like, after Prime 2. But story-wise, Prime Hunters apparently takes place between 1 and 2. So I wanted to do it in, like, the story order there. And because we had, like, a little mini-adventure between Prime 1 and 2, I figure we should do the same for Prime 3. Because there is technically another Metroid Prime game, Metroid Prime Pinball, which, according to How Long to Beat, is extremely short. Like, it's a game that I'll beat in one session. And considering I did Prime Hunters during a special event at Janlan, yeah, that was my Janlan game this year, and then I tried to do Prime 2 for a special event of Fragapalooza and, like, failed to do it start to finish. Like, I made incredible progress there, but couldn't quite do it start to finish. It was a bit longer than expected. I do wonder if Prime Pinball I should do during, like, a special event as well. There's 2 big special events still coming up later this year. There's a 24-hour Cherry Stream 11, because I always do, like, an Extra Life 24-hour Cherry Stream in November. And as of last year, I started going to the physical event of Extra Life and, like, help set up some of the cabling and stuff. And I was gonna help with Teardown as well, but I was so tired by the end, and I couldn't. And that took place in West Edmonton Mall, and it was basically like a 24-hour LAN party. Maybe a little bit longer than 24-hour LAN party is basically what that was, of doing, like, a charity event to fundraise. I could do Prime Pinball there. That'll be sometime around the beginning of November. I don't actually know the exact date yet. I think I could look up just Game Day 2024 and it'll tell me, and it should be that day, but I don't think there's much announced about the in-person physical venue yet. So I might just do Prime Pinball there. And then the next big, like, event that'd be going on is, I believe, also at the end of November, which would be HalloLAN. It's only been this year that I've started going to Mega FPS's LAN events, which is what I did, like, JanLAN at, MegaLAN at. Apparently, they also have a Halloween one, which is HalloLAN. And I haven't seen, like, any posts about HalloLAN, like any social media posts just on their own about it or its date, but there was a video that was posted of MegaLAN 2024 here, and there was a little blurb at the end that said, late HalloLAN this year is, like, November 22nd to 24th or something like that, so, like, 3 weeks after Halloween. Like, if I look up MegaLAN 2024, the first thing that comes up is my playlist. Amazing, before the official thing. What a world we live in. But there was this video that I saw, and I found out that Mega FPS has a YouTube channel, apparently, and I'm one of 10 subscribers, so exclusive here. I hope you can see me pulling my stuff in there and briefly see, like, my hat going by. Let's see here. So, I didn't do anything Metroid related at MegaLAN, so any stuff that was going on here. Why is my browser being so laggy today? Holy crap. But at the end of this, look, there's me! I'm so famous now. Come on, load the thing. Then right at the end, wait, was that me there too? Hold on, with the drone. Look, there's my hat! There's the thingamabob. There I be, briefly looking up at the camera. Yeah, join us for late HalloLAN 2024. And I like going to LAN parties and doing stuff like this, so I could see myself going to that. But the official Mega FPS Facebook page, which is, like, the primary place that they post about stuff like this, I've seen no mention of it, but it's posted here, so, like, I assume that that's going on. So we might have 2 LAN parties going on in November. One that I think it's going to be on November 2nd, the game day one, the Extra Life 24-hour cherry stream one that I've been doing, and then like the several day 22nd, 23rd, 24th. And I wouldn't mind being pretty on top of the Prime series in preparation for Prime 4, since I don't know when it's going to come out next year. So part of me is thinking about potentially doing Prime Pinball as just like a short little game during the Extra Life 24-hour cherry stream. So it wouldn't be my main game there, I don't think, right? How long to beat Metroid Prime Pinball? Yeah, like 2 hours. Like, it's just like a short pinball game for fun. Here, how about we just like Metroid Prime Trilogy main theme extended? Let's look up here. Title theme, heck yeah. Let's do that. Come on. Come on. Oh, I muted the tab. I'm dumb. I was like, where the heck is my music? Yeah, I do think that with all the 24-hour cherry streams that I do now, I now like having a main game of each event. Like, just special events in general, not even necessarily 24-hour cherry streams. So like, yeah, special events thingamabobs here. Like Fragapalooza 2024, the main game was this, Metroid Prime 2, that I'm now only beating like a decent bit later. This, the main game was Pokemon X and Y, because it was the only thing I streamed there. Mega Land, the main game was Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. Jan Land, my main playthrough was Metroid Prime Hunters. 24-hour cherry stream 9, the main playthrough was Metal Gear Solid 2. Like, I like having a game to beat start to finish at each of these events. Like, a key anchor playthrough. That's like the main thing that took place at that event. Like, I still like to do all sorts of other games and like have playlists that are filled with all sorts of cool different stuff that I did. But I always want to have like one main playthrough from now on where I can think about that event and then I'll think of that one specific game. So Metroid Prime Pinball would not be that for the 24-hour cherry stream, but it could be one of those things that's like a for fun thing that I'm doing during a cherry event. I might not mind doing. And then for HalloLand, even though it's a decent bit after Halloween, it is supposed to be like the late Halloween themed thingamabob. So it would make sense for me to stream a spooky game or something that's at least themed around slightly spookier or creepier themes. And there are some games that I have on the back of my mind that I do want to do eventually that would fit that niche. The three that are in the back of my head right now are The Last of Us Part 2, since I already played Part 1 on the channel and now I own Part 2 on PlayStation 5. But I've played through that once with my family already, and I don't think that's the game, a kind of game that I want to play in like a big LAN venue, honestly. I think I'd rather play it here. The Walking Dead Season 2, because we did Season 1 last year, I think? So maybe I could do Season 2 sometime this year, and like that could be something fine to play at something like that, or for actual Halloween. I haven't decided on like an actual Halloween game to play this year. And Bloodborne. Bloodborne would fit that niche. And I'm almost done with Elden Ring, and I did want to do Bloodborne as the next Soulsborne game, but considering how cramped my game schedule is, it's like, okay, I probably shouldn't be adding something like Bloodborne killing all bosses, because I always kill all bosses when I'm playing Soulsborne games on the channel. And I feel like Bloodborne plus all bosses would probably take a while? I don't know. How long to beat Bloodborne? About 32 and a half hours, and then it'd be even longer than that if I'm killing all bosses. Like 76 hours for 100% completion, so maybe all bosses might be like, I don't know, 50 hours, 60, something like that, and then apparently there's like DLC. Like, there's no way I'd be able to do something like that start to finish there. And is that really a good idea to add to the game schedule when the game schedule is already like a collage that I'm struggling to get on top of, and like I just knocked off Prime 2 here, which is good. So I wouldn't mind doing Bloodborne for like a future event or something like that, or maybe like a future HalloLand. I don't really see it happening this year. Metroid Prime 3 might be an interesting option for it. I can't spell things. Metroid Prime 3. Like, that is the kind of thing that I can do at an event like that. Out of curiosity, how long does it say for Prime 2? Alright, 16 to like 17 hours. Like, it was 12 in-game hours that it took me, a little bit under that. But, in terms of real life time, yeah, that definitely took me longer. There's a lot of erased timelines along this playthrough. But apparently Prime 3 is shorter then, by a little smidge. And plus, without me having to host like several tournaments at something like a Mega LAN event, I would have more time for streaming other games, even if it is like 1 day shorter than Fragapalooza. Like, that's why Megaland events are great for, like, Fragapalooza staff and volunteers, because then it's like a gaming event to go to and just genuinely game through the whole thing, rather than having to worry about, like, a whole bunch of other stuff to manage like I was at Fragapalooza. Is the case. So I do get more time at these kinds of events. And Prime 3 might actually kind of play well into, like, a semi-spooky kind of theme, considering it's Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. And all I really know about it is that it's the one where Samus has to deal with, like, being slowly corrupted by Phazon. And, like, will she defeat her adversaries first, or will the Phazon overcome her and corrupt her first? That's what I know about, like, the general premise, because I've watched trailers of Prime 3 to get a general idea of what it's like. And because I am genuinely enjoying these games, and so I get a little bit excited, and then I watch trailers because I'm a little bit excited to play them. So I know the general premise from that, and it's like, okay, that plays into a semi-spooky theme, if anyone cares about it still being, like, Halloween-themed when it's several weeks later. So that's my idea right now. Like, don't take what I'm saying right now as gospel, as, like, that's for sure what the plan is going to be. But more likely than not, that's probably going to be what's happening here. And then it might be kind of fun to be doing, like, so much of the Prime trilogy at special events and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's currently September 3rd, so yeah, maybe I'll do, like, Prime Pinball, which will be, like, a super short series then. And then maybe HalloLand Prime 3 Corruption can be, like, my HalloLand game. Maybe. I don't know. But that's my idea right now. And then I'll have done, like, the whole Prime trilogy leading up to Prime 4 before 2025 even rolls around. And then I'm, like, really on top of things, is my idea. There is technically Federation Force 2. I don't know how important it really is. Like, if I don't have time to do Federation Force before Prime 4 comes out, whatever. It's not super high on my priority list, but if I have time, then I'll do it. What, 11 hours? I mean, I did Prime Hunters at Janland, and presumably there'll be a Janland next year. So, I don't know. Then do Prime Federation Force during Janland 2025. Kuzma might be visiting during that time, and if he's visiting, then I'd probably end up doing, like, something multiplayer with him if we went to Janland, which, wait. Wasn't I just saying earlier that's the whole gimmick of this game? I don't think he'd be interested in playing this with me, but, like, the war between the Galactic Federation and Space Pirates is far from over, unless with the Federation Force. This is the game that everyone was like, what the heck, we wait so many years for a new Metroid game, and this is what they put out? So I know that a lot of people were extremely salty at this game. I hadn't even played a Metroid Prime game all the way through to completion at that point, but even I was salty for, like, Metroid fans. That enlist with the Federation Force to join a 4-player local or online squad in this co-op sci-fi shooter. Fight alongside teammates in your specialized mech to eliminate the space pirate menace and any threat that stands in your way. Amazing. I know that there is an after-credits scene in Prime 3 and in Prime Federation Force that both hint towards Prime 4. I do know about that. So I know that this is, like, significance in that. Is it one of those 100% ending ones, though? I wonder, considering how these usually go. I don't know. I could always look that up sometime later. So I don't know how important this is, apart from that one after-credits sequence. And I could always show it at the end of Prime 3 in case I decide that I'm not doing Federation Force. Be like, hey, here's the one important part of Federation Force. I'm curious. Can you play Metroid Prime Federation Force single player? I have no doubt that you can, but I want to find people elaborating and say, oh, but it's not good in single player. Something like that. Worth it for single player? You can get a lot of fun out of it. Played solo on my first run. The story is simple, but get the job done. The gameplay is great. It does feel prime, no doubt about it. Difficulty does get tough near the end, which is awesome and overall way better than the negative hype will make you believe. But if you have an internet connection, I highly recommend you play it co-op. Even with strangers is a lot of fun. Oh, you can play with strangers? I don't have any friends to play it either, so after playing the game, I did it. Oh well, it doesn't hurt to try. To be honest, the game's a lot of fun. Playing it solo, still having a good time. Definitely better than I thought it was gonna be. Okay. Like hard games, pre-punishing games, a la solo Dark Souls or solo missions meant for a group in Destiny. Okay, so it's definitely harder. And I don't actually know how, like, the multiplayer rooms of Citra work, because I'd probably be playing it on Citra. There is a way that I can cast my 3DS to my desktop, but it has been working for a little while, and I usually don't use it just because I can get, like, better graphics on Citra anyway. But if I ever need to use, like, my actual 3DS, I'm sure that I can figure out how to set it up again. Get it streaming and all that. It's just the quality wouldn't be very high. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'll give an update about what's happening with this here sometime later, I guess, maybe by the time I'm doing the Prime 3 playthrough, and then I have it, like, for sure in my head, like, I know what I'm doing in this series now. So I'll get on top of it, and then in 2025, I'll play Prime 4. And then sometime after that, I don't know when, I'll play Metroid Other M. Just because that'd be the only one that I'd be missing at that point. Again, apart from, like, the originals of games, like, before they got remade and all that. But I'm not gonna replay those. I've already played, like, later releases of them anyway, so I count them as done. And hello, Reggie Bup. We just beat Metroid Prime 2, and I'm now just going over, like, what Metroid is looking like for the future of this channel. So, the next game that we're gonna do is gonna be Prime Pinball, probably during 24-hour Cherry Stream 11. Then we're gonna do Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, probably at this. We'll probably do this then, most likely. And then if I have time, I'll do Prime Federation Force. And then that's it until Prime 4 comes out, and I'll play Prime 4. And then sometime after that, whenever I can be bothered, just because it's the only game I have left, and then I can say I played all the Metroid games, I'll play Other M. And speaking about that, if I put it on my shelf here, I actually bought a copy of Other M recently. I own the physical copy now. And of all the Prime games, too. Hold on. Did I put them on my shelf? Stuff. I don't know where I put my copy of Other M. It's around here somewhere. But I do now own the actual, not the Prime Trilogy release, but I own, like, the Prime Trilogy as titles, which is kind of cool. Prime Pinball prior to Pokemon Pinball, okay. What if the 24-hour Cherry Stream 11 was just themed around pinball games, then I played Pokemon Pinball as well there. I would like to get caught up on other games, but that would be extremely funny. Just out of curiosity. How long to beat Pokemon Pinball? 15 hours? Pokemon Pinball, Ruby, and Sapphire. Wait, is there different Pokemon Pinball games? I've never played Pokemon Pinball before. What if it's 24-hour Cherry Stream 11 is the pinball one? And then it's themed with, like, the 11, because you've got, like, the 2 lines for, like, the 2 bumpers. Can't wait to see your dip into Sega via Sonic Pinball. Do pinball for 24 hours straight in the West Edmonton Mall. That would be extremely funny, but I also feel like I'd lose my mind. But it would be really funny. Hold on. Pokemon Pinball. Is there, like, multiple ones? Pokemon Pinball for the Game Boy Color. And then, yeah, Game Boy Advance was Ruby and Sapphire. Interesting. They made a sequel for Gen 3. Interesting. I'm intrigued here. Hey, I'm older than this game. Not by a lot, but I am. Anyway, usually, like, I don't get that many opportunities to pick up classic games. If ever I see them at a good price, I try to. I don't really seek them out online because they're usually going to cost an arm and a leg. But I actually found all of these at good prices at local stuff. This one I found at, I think it was Fan Expo. It was one big nerdy convention like that in the city. And usually when you find old video games at something like that, they're usually marked up like crazy and cost super expensive amounts because they want people that are like super excited about being there at the event and seeing something there in person and being willing to spend more is typically what happens. So I usually don't buy any games at stuff like that because they're usually super marked up. I actually got this for a really good price. Full-priced games here in Canada are $80 Canadian. This was $60 Canadian, so not even full price. And it's Prime 1 and Prime 2. So I guess this was like a later release because it's like Prime 1 and Prime 2 Echo's bonus disc. So I own Prime 1 and Prime 2 physically here like that. Whoa. There's Metroid Prime 1 and Metroid Prime 2 Echo's bonus disc. So if I wanted to play this physically on actual original hardware, I could have for this playthrough. But I wanted to play on my PC for like convenience and better graphics is what I wanted. But I could have definitely played it on the native thing. So I picked that up. And then a few months ago, I was at a farmer's market actually. And there was this one kind of more nerdy stand around the front that had like a bunch of Pokemon cards and other cards and stuff like that. And they had a very small section with video games. And I was like, okay, I'll browse around just in case there's something there. And the clerk there was like, oh yeah, it's a new thing that we just started recently, actually. And lo and behold, what was there but Prime 2 and Prime 3. Now, I already own Prime 2 because I own it here, so this is really just about getting the case / original disc. But it was a not half bad price. This was like 40 bucks. And I was like, okay, for 40 bucks Prime 2, I can't help me with that. And then Prime 3, I got this for $14. Like, that was... Oh, and you can see Dark Samus right there. Ooh, spoilers about our next adventure here. So, yeah, I do own, like, actual original non-bonus disc Prime 2 now that I'm, like, super proud of. And I'd love to play, like, on actual physical hardware one day. Like, when the day comes that I move out into my own place and I make, like, a specialty gaming space, one thing that I would really like in there is, like, an actual CRTV, where I can set up, like, my classic games. And then if I want to pull something like Metroid Prime off the shelf and play it on the CRTV, that'd be so cool. I would love that so much. Anyway, in case anyone wants to see, like, the back for Metroid Prime 2 here. A war of light and darkness. I plan on getting a new camera in the near future, so, like, you'll probably be able to read this stuff better when I get a new camera, considering, like, my other one here has been dying lately. Like, replace my main one, this one becomes the secondary camera, considering you saw how much it was dying at Fragapalooza, but if I just wait a couple months until November, I can, like, capitalize on some Black Friday sales, so I'll just wait until then. But for now, if that's legible with this camera, then great. If not, it's not. Oh, you can travel through portals between light and dark ether. Oh, scan environments, upgrade your suit and visors, and explore every nook and cranny in Morph Ball mode. Tons of new power-ups await, including the dark and light beams, which make use of an all-new ammo system. Yep. Up to 4 players can battle as they search for weapons, grapple across ceilings, and turn morph balls to escape. That's another thing I forgot to mention about the gameplay. The fact that there's multiplayer in this game, multiplayer versus, and it's actually pretty fun, that's cool. I forgot to mention that in the review. That aspect I like. The fact that there's multiplayer, that's cool there. And then, I guess we can have a quick look at Prime 3 in anticipation of what's to come here. Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. The next big game that we have coming up here. Kind of a cool... Whoa. That way. Have a cool looking disc there. And then the back of this one is like, let's see here. You are the bounty hunter. The trilogy closes as corruption creeps over the universe and into Samus Aran. What did these other things say? Point and aim your Wii remote to blast enemies with the best first-person controls ever made. Wonder if they'd stand by that today. Wii controls immerse you behind Samus's visor as you swing the nunchuck back to grapple off enemy shields. Interesting. And then there's like the other languages there. It doesn't actually say too much. Anyway, I can go to like this layout or something now. That's what I can do. All right, we've heard enough of this. Let's put on some Metroid music. How about? But yeah, yeah, they made the sequel for Gen 3. Craziness, man. It's a nightmare these days to get any games for the GameCube. Yeah, even ones that had a remaster. Hearing GameCube referred to as classic games generation, it's really hard. If it's going to be sold for hundreds of dollars online, I'm going to count it as a classic game. Quite frankly. Let's scroll on to Metroid here. Let's listen to some other Metroid remixes. Is what we'll do. Sure, here we go. Let's do that. Some of that music going. But yeah. So the fact that I was able to get both of these for like pretty good prices and then like this for super cheap was quite amazing. And I got Metroid Prime, but why do I keep calling it Metroid Prime Other M? The fact that I got Metroid Other M for 20 bucks as well is also really good. When I bought this at Fan Expo, because they saw that I was buying this, they were like, oh, could we interest you in the Prime Trilogy? Because they did have copies of the Prime Trilogy there, and they showed it to me behind the counter, and it had a $200 price tag on it. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm good. I think I'm good with just this for now. And now I technically own the Prime Trilogy. Like, it would be fun to own, like, the actual release of the Prime Trilogy, but I don't know if I'm ever going to find that for a good price. I don't know about that. But I do own all the games now anyway, because I do quite like Metroid Prime now, I will say. Well, covering them on this channel has definitely gotten me into it. I've been converted. I am a fan of them now. And I am genuinely looking forward to playing this game. And again, I could play it on native hardware, but I don't really want to. Unless I just cannot for the life of me figure out how to set up motion controls on my thingamabob here. But like, no, I'm sure I can figure it out. If for some reason I can't, then I guess I'll bring my Wii and play on native hardware. Is what I suppose I can do in worst case scenario, but it's probably not going to come down to that. I don't know, so Banjo-Kazooie being sold in person at an official game store for a mere 12 quid? Really? Interesting. Also, hold on. I want to find out about this. So Pokemon Pinball for the Game Boy Color. Spin-off video game for the Game Boy Color released like a month and a week after I was born. A month and 10 days after I was born. And North America on June 29th, 1999. In it, the ball is a Pokeball, and most of the objects on the table are Pokemon related. Like any pinball game, the main objective is to get points. There are 2 tables in the game, red and blue. Each table has its own details and gameplay elements. Each table has different playable locations, which determine which Pokemon are available for capture. Interesting. Generally positive reviews. And then I got a sequel. Okay, so there's 2 games when it comes to Pokemon Pinball. What does it look like? Pokemon Pinball Game Boy Color gameplay. Because I would like to spend events like 24-hour cherry streams. Ideally doing stuff that I was planning on doing anyway that contributes to my game schedule. But it would be kind of fun. Hold on. I'm gonna mute the tab. Hold on. Oh yeah! I have seen some gameplay of this. I just forgot that I'd ever seen gameplay of this. Where it like switches the screen back and forth there. Oh, and then you try to get Mewtwo. Interesting. Again, how long was a Pokemon Pinball? The original one. Really? Really? There's no friggin' way I do all of them. Like, it's at least not through to beating. As funny as it would be to do, like, Pokemon Pinball, Metroid Prime Pinball, and Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire for 24-hour Cherry Stream 11. And again, it would be, like, themed well. I really quite liked how the theming works for the 24-hour Cherry Stream 10. Where it's like, oh, we are now hitting double digits, and it's a 24-hour Cherry Stream 10. So, like, X in Roman numerals. Time to play Pokemon X that I was planning on doing anyway. Like, that worked out perfectly. And then the theming with the 1-in-1 could be like the bumpers. And that'd be... that would be kind of funny. But, like... what the heck? How is it 15 hours? This says it's a long play and it's 3 hours. Why is it saying this is 15 hours? Focusing on the main objectives, Pokemon Pinball is about 15 hours in length. Like, what? How long is Pokemon Pinball? No, different site. Pokemon Pinball completed Pokédex. I wouldn't need a, like, complete Pokédex or anything like that. After all these years, how long did it take? Gosh dang it, how long does it take to beat? Around 12 hours? Hardcore Pinball and Game Boy. This is a completely different game! How long is Pokemon Pinball? We don't have any playthrough data for this game. Well, that sure is handy. Hot take alert. Pinball sucks! Why is there a picture of Bomberman here? Let's Pokemon Pinball review. Like, what? What is the point of Pokemon Pinball? How long to beat Pinball? But not that. There's shinies in Pokemon Pinball. Is Pinball good for the brain? Just 3 hours to take on the final boss and 15 to complete the decks? Is that what it would mean then? It says main story plus sides, 25.5. Completion is 33. From 31 people that were polled. 7 people took... oh. Wait, this was on the Game Boy Advance as well? This specific one? Unless people are getting the 2 games mixed up. Or something like that. And we're reporting, like, on the wrong page. Like, what? There's no way Pokemon Pinball is 15 hours long. Like, what? BRB already, Regibump? Like, what happens here? At the beginning of the game start, it just goes right into Pinball. What do you mean 15 hours to beat? Harmonia hooked on pinball trends. Well, it's just because I was going to play Metroid. I was already thinking about playing Metroid Prime Pinball for the 24-hour Cherry Stream 11. And it couldn't be the main game of the stream because it'll only take like a couple hours apparently. And it would be really, really funny for the next 24-hour Cherry stream to be based around pinball. It would be incredibly funny. I'd be losing my mind about pinball at the end. Like, when I played Dark Souls 3 during the 24-hour Cherry Stream 5, that was the longest I had ever played a game on the channel in one session up to that point. I did like 13 hours of this 25-hour. It was a 25-hour Cherry Stream technically. I did 13 hours straight of Dark Souls 3. And I was so dang tired of Dark Souls 3 by the end. This was the final part? And then ended up doing like some golf with friends with the Fragapalooza crew. And then I just started doing like some of my other playthrough stuff. I guess Paper Mario was going on at the time. I did To the Moon as part of it. Apparently there's like a bunch of DLCs to that game that I never played. Oh, and then I guess it was just like Planet Coaster, and then I did like a little bit of Age of Calamity right at the end. But yeah, most of this was Dark Souls 3. And after doing so much of that, like this was my main game of the 24-hour Cherry Stream 5. 25-hour Cherry Stream 5 technically because they late savings. And after I did like 13 hours of that game straight, I was like, I don't know if I can ever play one singular game for that long straight ever again. Like, because that really drained me. Especially something like Dark Souls playing it for that long, where ideally I'd be taking time between sessions and gaining some levels that I wouldn't have the chance to while I'm doing that. But then, lo and behold, during the most recent 24-hour Cherry stream, I did do one game. For 25.5 hours straight, I played randomized Pokemon X and Y. Well, Pokemon X, technically. And I was definitely pretty darn fed up with Pokemon X by the end. I think the fact that it was a randomizer and I never knew what to expect, even with the dialogue. I forget some of these titles that I make for videos sometimes, and I get reminded when I look back at them randomly. Sometime later. A couple months later, in this case. Anyway, I felt really, really darn tired of this at the end. Not as much as Dark Souls 3, surprisingly, because of all the randomness and craziness and how much it was making me laugh. Playing pinball for 24 hours straight would be incredibly funny, but I don't know if I could handle it mentally. Like, could I? It's such a dumb idea. Like, it sounds like one of those things that I would love to look back at and laugh about after the fact, but I would be genuinely miserable doing at the time. It would be such a funny story to tell later. But man, would that suck in the moment. Catch. Is it just this? Like, is there an actual story that goes on here? Because it sure doesn't look like it. Like an objective or win condition, like a way that you get the credits. Like, these are saying long play, and they're like just a few hours long. So maybe there is no plot and people are rating this based on like filling the Pokedex or something like that, that I wouldn't necessarily need to do anyway. On pinball speedruns? Let's go ahead and save that to watch later, how about? Game start, field select red, blue. Yeah, so it's gotta be just, it's pinball and you're filling the decks. So there's no way that I actually play that for like 15 hours and fully fill the decks. At most, I'd probably just do like a few hours. So I think I can disregard this. I'm gonna switch this to category to just chatting at this point. So I should probably switch my game category too. Huh. Cause yeah, so they play the red board for so long. And then they play the blue board. High score red. Yeah, it's just for the sake of playing pinball. There's not like a plot and objectives to complete. Like, some Pokemon games will do that, even if they are like a very different game, still have a objective. Like, look at Pokken Tournament, for example, where it's mainly meant to be like a fighting game with Pokemon. And that's still like clearly the main focus of the game. But for single player, there is a main campaign that you can play, and it is just battle after battle after battle after battle, and it can get really tiring. But it does have a main campaign like that still. What if I get all pinballed out and then I play Pokken Tournament at the thing? Yeah. But this doesn't seem to be one of them. Unless you, unless there's a thing for specifically getting Mewtwo. I saw Mewtwo in, like, the gameplay earlier. Maybe I just count the win condition as, like, catching Mewtwo or something like that. And I'll be like, yeah, I won! Or something. I don't know. Like, what would be fair for that? And if I wanted to go in, like, release order, let's say I did do that during 24-hour Cherry Stream 11. It would probably make most sense to go in, like, release order and get, like, higher and higher quality pinball games as it goes on. So this, and then the Game Boy Advance Pokemon Pinball, and then the Nintendo DS Metroid Prime Pinball might make sense? I don't know. So, Mewtwo stage clear. Well, how do you catch Mewtwo? What? What is the objective here? Is there one, or is it just for the sake of having pinball that you can play with Pokemon? What is the objective in Pokemon Pinball? Pinball. Like any pinball game, the objective is to get points using different modes. Yeah. Pokemon Pinball has a secondary objective hinted at by the tagline, gotta catch 'em all. But there isn't really a main objective. What if I look up Pokemon Pinball, how to catch Mewtwo? The hunt for Mewtwo? Bonus stage? Can you get Mewtwo in Pokemon Pinball? Yes, but you have to knock the darkness balls around him down. It's possible to get him. Managed to get one on Indigo Plateau on the red field, but it took me 30 Pokemon, countless hours, and over 24.5 billion points. I assume that's a lot. I suggest you catch a lot of Pokemon, guys. Make extra balls as you can and play hard. Play the Mewtwo stage at least 4 times. I did it over 20. Go to the Indigo Plateau and light up the get lights on the right side. If you're lucky, you'll have a shot at catching Mew. If you catch it, congratulations. If you don't, the Pokedex will say you will after you catch Mewtwo. He appeared right after I lost to Mew and got the gotta catch a bonus. Only takes 4 hits to get him. Hope it helps. So I could make that my objective, but like, don't necessarily have to. And I think if I was playing this for like 10 hours or something like that, I would lose my mind. Like, again, it would be extremely funny, but I think I would lose my shit. Huh. But then the, Pokemon Pinball. Pokemon Pinball Mini? And it's like a little handheld thing on its own? Wait, no, it is a cartridge. Pokemon Pinball Mini, play anytime, anywhere with just one hand. What was this? New Pokemon Pinball for your Pokemon Mini. Try to get the timing just right as you use the Diglett Plunger to fire balls. A total of 90 screens in 3 modes. You won't be able to put down your Pokemon Mini. Is Pokemon Mini like a different console? I guess Pokemon Pinball Mini. Sorry, Camex. I think I'm gonna switch it to something else here. Oh, we can do Dark Samus's theme, considering it just beat Metroid Prime 2. I don't think I'm the biggest fan of this Dark Samus remix. I think it's one of those super electronic-y ones, but we can listen to it for a little while. Pokemon Pinball Mini. Curious, has a total of 90 levels and spin-off. What is it, though? What is the physical thing? Is what I want to know. Some usable Pokemon. Oh, Diglett's like the mascot. The player starts with Diglett. Well balanced. Amazing. Pokemon Pinball Mini long play? What is it? Does it look like this? Was this like a different console? Nintendo fandom. What is this? And welcome back, Reggie Bump. I found out that there's another Pokemon Pinball. Pokemon Mini video game. What's Pokemon Mini? What the heck is this thing? I've never heard of this thing before. The Pokemon Mini is a piece of hardware that featured only 10 games. I hate going to a fandom site. What it is. It's also the... I also, after people have been advising me, after browsing the internet while streaming, and there being, like, so many ads popping up everywhere, people have advised me to use an ad block, and I have started for some sites here, because, my god. However, look much like a Tamagotchi and its simple button controls, a built-in tilt sensor, shock feedback, and more. The little gadget sold more than expected. Pokemon channel for the Nintendo GameCube includes an in-game Pokemon Mini. Most of the games from an existing library, though, are new ones. Bros Mini, Pokemon Party Mini, Pokemon Pinball Mini, Pokemon Puzzle Collection Volume 2, Pokemon Race Mini, Pokemon Tetris, Pokemon Breeder Mini, Pokemon Zany Cards, Togepi no Daibuken. How have I never heard of these? Like... And were these like a cartridge that you put into it? Games. There's only 10 games. That was just for in these 10 Pokemon games you could put into it. God, the rabbit hole is even deeper than what you had known about. Oh, channel. Yeah, that was fun to play. Watch TV for 5 days to get a single Jirachi. I've never heard of Pokemon Mini. Pokemon Mini. Here, Wikipedia page. Officially stylized as Pokemon Mini. Go to another music theme. I think I like this one. Oh, Kamix has a Torvix Bog remix that I forgot about from the game that we were just playing. Actually, I think I remember that one being good too. I don't remember. Let's see here. Is a handheld game console that was designed and manufactured by Nintendo in conjunction with the Pokemon Company and themed around the Pokemon media franchise. It is the smallest game system with interchangeable cartridges ever produced by Nintendo. Just under 2.5 ounces. First released in North America in 2001 and was only available for purchase at the Pokemon Center and via its website. This system was released in 3 colors: Wooper Blue, Chikorita Green, and Smoochum Purple. I've never heard of this thing. Features of the Pokemon Mini include an internal real-time clock, an infrared port used to facilitate multiplayer gaming, a reed switch for detecting shakes, and a motor used to implement force feedback. Only 10 games were released, 5 of which were exclusive to Japan, and only 4 games being released in North America. Various hackers reverse engineered the Pokemon Mini in order to enable the creation of homebrew games and to allow official games to be played on other platforms. Interesting. So, there's 3 Pokemon Pinball games. Yeah, like what? Wooper Blue, Chikorita Green, and Smoochum Purple. Like, what? Interesting. It says this is about 4.5 hours, but like realistically I could play it for shorter. Because would there be any main objective in there? Pokemon, well, I guess I can find if there's a Pokemon Pinball Mini here. It's not clickable, so I guess not. I can go back to that stupid fandom page. Pokemon Pinball Mini. Hold on. Oh, I can go to Bulbapedia. Starting with Diglett, which is such an odd choice, player must make their way through a total of 90 levels of pinball. 70 in quest mode and 10 each in time attack and score attack. The object usually being to put a Pokeball serving as the pinball in each hole. Along the way, the player can catch more Pokemon to use. What's next? Dunsparce Yellow, Skarmory Gray, Magby Red? Yeah, probably. Some levels have restrictions on which plungers can and can't be used. The final level of the game only allows Diglett to be used, as any good Pokemon game should. Rather aquatic-based level only allows Poliwag to be used. The levels directly following their respective capture levels only allow Pikachu and Clefairy to be used respectively. A number of the more tricky levels prohibit Clefairy from being used due to its ability to allow the player a small amount of control over where the ball goes. Pikachu, Wobbuffet, Clefairy, and Poliwag cannot be used to replay their respective capture levels. Okay, Quest is the main mode, consisting of 70 levels. Okay, so there actually is so many levels in the spin-off of the original, but not the original? Wait, Pokemon Pinball, the original. I still have yet to look into like the Game Boy Advance one. But let's see here. Goal is to catch all the Pokemon and complete the Pokedex. Beyond that and the ever-present goal of getting a high score, there's no storyline to speak of. Okay, so there is no like progression apart from you filling the Pokedex. And if I did ever play this on the channel, I'm not 100%ing it. Like, I wouldn't have the time for that. But there is a finite amount of levels in the spin-off Pokemon Mini pinball game? Like, what? Part of me is also kind of curious now. All Nintendo pinball games. I'm just a little bit curious if there's ones outside of that. Every NES pinball games. Category pinball games. Okay, so this wouldn't be Nintendo, it'd just be on Nintendo console. Oh, there's Kirby pinball. I'm just seeing if there's like other pinballs that would concern me. That would be extremely funny. You know? Because I was already planning on probably doing Metroid Prime pinball for the 24-hour Cherry Stream 11. And again, it works so cool with the symbolism, and I could make like a cool graphic where the 11 is like the pinball bumpers. Could be a quality over quantity situation. What, with if I committed to like one pinball game, or what do you mean? Or with the original, you mean? Where it's probably better on the Game Boy Color as opposed to the Pokemon Mini is probably what you mean there. Yeah, probably would. Let's see here. Like, what are things that would concern me here? Notepad. Let's write this down. Pokemon Pinball. Pokemon Pinball Mini. I can't believe I'm entertaining this idea. Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire. Metroid Prime pinball. This would be like the only opportunity I'd have to do something that silly when that's the time that I'm for sure doing Metroid Prime pinball anyway, or most likely doing Metroid Prime pinball, because I want to do it as part of my Metroid series. So let's see here. What are other things that are connected to things I've played? There's a Mario one, Kirby's Pinball Land, and Kirby's Toy Box. Hold on. Let's see here. And just be like a few hours of every single different Nintendo pinball game, or at least pinball game with Nintendo characters in it, we'll say is the criteria. Kirby's Pinball Land is a pinball video game for the Game Boy that stars Kirby as the ball. It's developed by HAL and published by Nintendo. And maybe I should write down what consoles these are on. Just out of curiosity. So that's just Game Boy. This is Game Boy Color. This is the weird Pokemon Mini I'd never heard about before. Pokemon Mini. This is Game Boy Advance. And then this is Nintendo DS. So this is the most modern one that we've seen thus far. Yeah, so hold on. I just want to see like how significant each of these are. There are 3 pinball game boards. Each one features one of 3 popular Kirby bosses. Gameplay is exactly like a standard pinball game would, just with a Kirby theme. At the end of each level, you must defeat a boss. There are 4 bosses in all. You'll be able to access the last one after you defeat all 3 of the pinball boards. Okay, so it'd be like a campaign, but it's short. And I can write down like dates and stuff. Count the OG pinball game too. Did Nintendo have an OG pinball game on like a Game Boy or something like that? Because if so, maybe. I don't want to make any like promises about what's gonna happen during the next 24-hour Cherry stream, but it would be extremely funny and like something really fun to do for like a charity fundraiser. Interesting. Okay, there's that. But what the heck is Kirby's Toy Box? It's a Japan exclusive Nintendo published video game released on Super Famicom. It was a collection of ball mini games starring Kirby, where pinball happens to be one of them. Because the game was released in the same year as Kirby Superstar for the SNES, this game had a similar theme to attract fans of Superstar. There's like nothing on here. Kirby's Toy Box. Kirby's Toy Box. Full game walkthrough? This is for one of the specific ones. Interesting. Play just specifically the pinball of it. Kirby's Toy Box. I could for each of the different thingamabobs just as like a one-off. Just do like 20 minutes of each, and then like it would help my sanity a little bit when it's not just pinball. But here's my excuse to Is that like the layout for the different things there? Because that's just like Kirby Superstar. Interesting. Well, I mean, I can write it down here. 1996. In Super Famicom. So yeah, SNES equivalent there. I'll write it down, I guess. Kirby's toy box. SNES, basically Super Famicom, but 1996. Let's see here. Mario Pinball Land. I believe it's just the Superstar cover they put on the start of their video for some reason. Oh, because yeah, that didn't look like it would be related to any of those games. Like, clearly this says Dynablade and Kirby vs. Dee Dee. Potentially they're modding the game in there. Oh, maybe. Mario Pinball Land is a game for the Game Boy Advance. In the game, Mario gets transformed into Pinball Mario. In this shape, he can go into worlds and act as if he was a pinball to ram into enemies and bosses such as Bowser and Petey Piranha. The game was made by Fuse Games, who also made Metroid Prime Pinball for the Nintendo DS 1 year later. So this is the game to play before Metroid Prime Pinball. Plot takes place at a new amusement park ride opening up. When Peach decides to give it a try, she gets transformed into a pinball, Kinky, so she can try out the ride. And suddenly a couple of Goombas from Bowser's Castle come around and shoot Peach out of the cannon and into Bowser's Castle. Once this happens, Mario gets ready to save her again and transforms into a pinball. That's how you spell transforms. Yeah, now you have to play this one for the origin story of pinball, at least for the origin of Metroid Prime Pinball, if it's the same developers that did both, like, back-to-back. Features 5 different Mushroom Kingdom themed areas that Mario and Pinball 4 must explore. 4 hours of pinball. Why? I really want to. The areas, as one could guess, consist of a grassy world, an ice world, a desert area, Bowser's Castle, and a non-expecting fun fair or amusement park. What does that mean? What? What does that mean? In Mario 64, Mario collects a certain amount of stars to progress through the game. Some doors or areas require a certain amount of stars to get past it. Each world also has a boss and playing enemies to defeat. If I did something like this, on my channel, I always list, like, playthroughs in reverse chronological order. So you always see, like, the most recent stuff. And then if there's, like, a grander series, I put that in front. So, like, Metroid Prime 2, and then here's, like, the overarching Metroid series in front of, like, the most recent individual playthrough. And then that was part of Fragapalooza 2024. Or Mario and Luigi Partners in Time is an individual thing. Here's the overarching Mario RPG series. Or Pokemon X and Y, here's the overarching Pokemon main series. If I did something like that, then here at the end for a while, you'd have 24-hour Cherry Stream 11. And then just like this entire shelf full of Mario Pinball, Kirby Pinball, Metroid Pinball, another Pokemon Pinball, another Pokemon Pinball. And it's just, it would just go on. And they'd all only be like a few videos long. It would just go on with pinball. Anyone that would come into my channel would be like, huh, he must really like pinball. Let's see here. Mario, the pinball playlist. Yeah, and the overarching pinball playlist would just be the 24-hour Cherry Stream 11 playlist. But then in front of that, you would have each individual pinball playlist for anyone that like wants to see the individual playlist of just that game, because each game always has its own playlist. And that like, so that's Game Boy Advance, and that's 2003, 2004, sorry. Interesting. What other ones have Nintendo characters? Yeah, here's Metroid Prime Pinball. So yeah, that was 2005. Yeah, it's in Morph Ball form. Rumble Pack included. Interesting. Okay, so this was 2005. And I could always go at them in like release order. Something like that. If I really want to do this, I might drive myself insane. Muppet Pinball Mayhem. Thanks, Odama. Let's see here. And then over here, Pac-Man Pinball Advance. Pinball Game & Watch. That would probably count there. Pinball Game & Watch here. 1983. I'm adding that to the list. Pinball. Because that would be like Nintendo's first pinball, right? 1983. Pinball NES. Okay. Yeah, you can use a Rumble Pack in the OG DS, like 3D function on 3DS. It got dropped quickly. Game for the NES that was made by Nintendo. So yeah, this is an official Nintendo one. Like name suggests, the game is a pinball game that's featured on a big board. There's also a minor cameo featuring Mario and Pauline. The game was later released on the e-reader and on the on the game Animal Crossing as an extra. So I have to go now. Left here a picture of the pinball. Try and enjoy your stream. Okie doke. Take care there, Reggie Bump. Flippers are at the bottom. Yeah, this is another like official mainline Nintendo one. So like, I'll write down Pinball NES. That one was 1984. So 1 year later. Do like a couple hours of each. Pinball Advance? Okay, yeah, so not an official Nintendo thing. The Nintendo seal of quality, but the Pinball Arcade? Farsight Studios. Yeah, so not like an in-house Nintendo thing. Pinball Challenge Deluxe. Pinball Dreams? Yeah, that's an Atari game? Pinball Fantasies. Ooh, I'm digging this. Who made this? By YMK. I'm digging it. Like, I would have clearly heard this before because I'm the one that put the playlist together, but a little while. Pinball of the Dead by Sega. Hello, Snow Penguin. My weekend was pretty alrighty. I spent a little bit of time out of town, spending time with family out there, and a family friend brought her 2 doggies out there, and they were super sweet, and everyone was loving her 7-month-old pup, who was massive. He was a sweetheart. It was really nice and chill. But I spent a lot of time catching up on projects around here. I just spent 1 night out of town. And apart from that, I've been here catching up on projects like video editing and playthroughs. We just wrapped up Metroid Prime 2. And I was just chatting about the what the future of Metroid Prime looks like and how the next game in our list of Metroid Prime games to play is going to be Metroid Prime Pinball next. And then Reggie Bump suggested like playing Pokemon Pinball. And I was thinking about doing this like Metroid Prime Pinball for the 24-hour charity stream in November. That'll be at West Edmonton Mall. And then the idea happened of like, what if it was like an entirely pinball themed 24-hour charity stream? So now, randomly at the end of beating Metroid Prime 2, now I'm looking through how many official pinball games have Nintendo published and seeing how many there are. And now this idea is in my head of like, what if I just played pinball in West Edmonton Mall for 24 hours straight for charity? I think I would lose my mind. I would get so tired of pinball and never want to play it again. But it would be extremely funny. Like, it'd be such a funny story to tell after the fact, and it'd be a great fundraiser for charity. But man, would it suck for me in the moment. Just out of curiosity, Sonic Pinball Party pinball themed game in Sonic the Hedgehog series released for the Game Boy Advance. Like, this isn't Nintendo, but, you know, people that are familiar with Nintendo stuff are usually pretty familiar with Sonic 2. What about Peggle? I do love Peggle. I haven't played Peggle in years. That'd be a fun thing to, like, finish it off with. Peggle actually has a main campaign. Yeah, it's technically not pinball. It does have, like, a main campaign. I haven't played Peggle in forever. Is it really only, like, 3 or 4 hours? Like, I know it's not a particularly long game. That could be really funny, just for, like, a mix-up to have randomly in the middle, if I want to fill with more time. I did own this at one point. I wonder if it's on, like, Steam. Because this would have been, like, before Steam was a big thing that I played it. This was, like, forever ago. Just looking up how Dark Souls Remastered was spelled. Was it all caps? Was it with a colon there? To list it with proper credit in the video essay that I was editing recently. If this could not lag, that'd be great. Yeah, I'm digging this remix. This is pretty cool. Oh, here we go. Come on. Let's see here. Out of curiosity, it's gotta be on Steam, right? Yeah, there's Peggle. Peggle Knights? Wait, was there more Peggle games made after the fact that I never knew about? Peggle Pack? Peggle Extreme? Wait, what? Peggle Knights. Join the Peggle Masters on a dreamtime adventure of alter egos and pegtastic action. Stay up late to aim, shoot, and clear orange pegs. Bask in extreme fever under the silver moon. I actually loved Peggle as a kid. Not as much as Plants vs. Zombies. Like, Plants vs. Zombies was my favorite PopCap game. Included with EA Play starting at $8 a month. I had no idea there was more Peggle games. I genuinely didn't know. Now I'm gonna go down this rabbit hole. Peggle Pack, and it's just both of those. Is there not a wish list button? I want this to be added to my wish list so I'll be notified when it goes on sale. Is this Peggle Extreme? Why is it free? Oh, 2007, so that would have been before things were like crazy premium model. Master 10 levels of extreme challenges, so there's not as much to it. Interesting that it's free. What is that? Interesting. Huh. I had no idea there were this many Peggle games. That is news to me. Peggle Deluxe free demo. I'm gonna start streaming that now that Metroid Prime is done. Oh, there's a Jonto remix. I once actually featured Jonto on the channel, interestingly enough. I played Mario Odyssey with him at one point. Where was I? Here. Star Wars Pinball? Recently, Nintendo Switch, I looked at the characters and I was like, wait a second. Wait. When did the new trilogy start? 2013? Star Wars Episode 7. My brain tells me it wasn't 2013. Release date 2015. This game released in 2013 and it featured the character from... Wait. Maybe this was the later re-release. Obviously, the Nintendo Switch was not out in 2013. Nintendo 3DS eShop. So I guess this was like a later release version of it. Split into opposing light and dark sides. Okay. Island Express. Interesting. So I think that's all the main official Nintendo ones, right? Which is still quite a lot of pinball here. Like, hold on. Let's write down the dates of these. So Pokemon Pinball. That was 1999. The mini thingamabob that I'm now learning about. 2001. And then Ruby and Sapphire, that was 2003. So even as is with this list, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pinball games. Man. If I grabbed 2 more, that would be 11 for 24-hour Cherry Stream 11, and it would be extremely funny. Just do like an hour to 2 hours of each different pinball game back to back to back to back. It sounds so silly, but it would be such a funny charity event. It work well for like fundraising for a good cause. 24-hour Cherry Stream 11. We're playing 11 different pinball games. Like, if I had to add another one, Revenge of the Gator. This is by how? Wait, what? Interesting. If I had to choose another one, like this is like not Nintendo, but again, people familiar with Nintendo would usually be familiar with that. So let's do like a space and write this down in case I end up wanting to bring it up to 11. Hold on. That's 2003. If I had to do one other one, I think I actually quite like this remix. Yeah. That's a good one there. Stern Pinball Arcade? Power Shop Pinball Constructor? Pinball Tycoon? What? Challenge. It'd be nice if there was more info on these. Pinball Quest. There's a lot of pinball games on Nintendo consoles over the years, isn't there? I had no idea. Pinball Deluxe. That was the Atari thing. Gross. I mean, Atari is a company that we talk about a decent bit on the channel. Like, not a lot in recent years, but historically on the channel, what with like Roller Coaster Tycoon and all that. Pac-Man Pinball Advance. Write that down. 3 Ultra Pinball Thrill Ride. Ream Pinball 3D. Where? Hollywood Pinball? I gotta click on this just to see what the description is. Like, what maniac? Pinball video game released on the Game Boy Color by Left Field Productions. What do you mean 2? Like, it's based on the direct-to-video movie The Little Mermaid. Wait, there was a second one? Oh, with a pinball twist. I thought this was like a sequel video game is what I thought when I saw that title. Well, I was especially confused. Marvel Pinball. Zen Studios. 2012 on the 3DS. Interesting. I had to write down another one. That's another character in Smash. Therefore, Nintendo parallel enough. Here, let's just click this. And Pinball Advance. Pac-Man. Pinball Advance. And that was 2005, apparently. It would be extremely funny to have a 24-hour charity stream where the theme, instead of being one game that anchors it, like I was talking about earlier, I generally try to do, where instead it's a type of game that anchors it, and it's just an hour or 2 hours of 11 different pinball games back to back to back to back, and just non-stop pinball the entire time. It would be so funny, but it would really drain me, especially considering like I stay up extra long for the Extra Life events now that I've started going to like the in-person venue. Considering whenever I'm doing a 24-hour charity stream here, I can wake up like an hour before the stream starts, get some breakfast, get prepared, get started. Usually I'm still a little bit late, so maybe I should wake up more as like an hour and a half earlier. Wow, my thumbnails sucked back when. I can barely read that text. But with this, I gotta wake up like several hours in advance, try to make sure that my car is all packed the day before, but still do like some packing of like some food stuff in the morning. Head out. I got here like extra early during this event because I helped set up like the cabling around the venue according to the cable map that we had, and bring in like my whole setup, wheel that all in with like my chair and my computer and everything, basically like a Fragapalooza event, except just for 24 hours. And then get that set up, play for 24 hours, and then I need to make the trip back home. I didn't drive myself for this because I knew I was going to be half dead by the time it was over, which was a very smart play. Like getting a ride to and from for this. So this November I might do the same thing. I might just, but still waking up like several hours early and helping like set up the physical venue before it happens, and then playing for 24 hours, and then just playing pinball nonstop. Like, I would lose my mind. It would be so funny, and it would be for such a good cause for the Stollard Children's Hospital. And then I would continue this, which is the whole thing that started this conversation in the first place, since we just beat Metroid Prime 2. Man, I would suffer. It is a really funny idea, though. Is there one that I really like here? Not to say I don't like your remix here. Vanillix Pavilion. I do like some of your stuff. This is cool. Metroid Prime Piano Medley. Yeah, anyway. Again, the thing that spurred this conversation was just what the future of the Metroid series looks like on this channel. So next is going to be Metroid Prime Pinball. And then it's going to be Metroid Prime 3. Then if I have time, it's going to be Metroid Prime Federation Force. Then Prime 4, and then sometime after, I'll do Metroid Other M. And then I'll have like all the Metroid games done apart from the originals of things that got remakes. Is the case. Man, this is being laggy today. So I'm almost there in terms of getting every Metroid game done. By the end of this year, like, oh look, I can update this right now. If, maybe. Okay, this one is a lot quieter than the other themes. Hopefully it doesn't blast my ears in a hot second here. Here, look at this. Was it after midnight when I beat it? Oh god, I don't even know. I'm going to assume not, and I'm going to write down September 2nd. That's what I'm going to do here. Pretty sure it was still September 2nd. I know I've been rambling about stuff here for a while. Whoa, 2024. Yeah, Metroid Prime Pinball, that's the next one. There we go. So yeah, this is next, then this, And then other M, because it's like the only thing left. And then I'll have all the Metroid games done. Look how much Metroid stuff I've done. I'm like a Metroid Pro by now. So much Metroid. Whoa, isn't it crazy? And then I don't know how much of a series this is gonna be. Like Prime 2. Just however much this cuts up into parts of. Yeah, and then Prime 1 twice. And then it was Prime Hunters. And then Prime 2. Wow, it's been so laggy today. Isn't it? That's some of my titles here. Now, some of these haven't even been published yet. So they all read like 13 days ago. So that was that stream. And then 2 weeks ago when I uploaded that. Here. Before I forget. This is a nice medley. It's pretty darn cool. I approve. I mean, clearly I approve if it's in the playlist. Really hits the big time. Because that's what it said when he was revealed in Smash. Look, I did it. It's done. No more. It's complete. Save. There we go. So, yeah. I don't know when I'm going to play Metroid Prime Pinball again. I was leaning towards doing it during the next 24-hour Cherry stream during the Extra Life event. So that's still what's most likely. Now that this idea has been put in my head, there is a chance that the entire thing might just turn into a massive pinball stream. I mean, I'm never going to have the opportunity to do that again. Because well, I don't have to. But I very much like to do Prime Pinball before Prime 3. Like, that's the order that I want to go in. And if I have Prime Pinball done already, then that's like a crucial game in like my pinball collective if I wanted to do it sometime later. If I did it sometime later, it would be without Prime Pinball unless I just replayed it a second time, but then it wouldn't quite be the same. So realistically, this is like my only real chance to do it. Like my grand pinball-a-thon. Such a dumb idea, but it'd be so funny. So yeah, I'm not making any promises, but it is an extremely funny idea, I will admit. So we'll see what happens. So yeah, anybody that could be tuning into this as part of like this playlist here of the Metroid series, you can expect the next stuff to be Prime Pinball. What the venue is going to be, probably a good chance that it's going to be at West Edmonton Mall for this big LAN charity event that runs for 24 hours. And there's a chance it might be a pinball-a-thon. And then, yeah, maybe HalloLand for Prime 3, and it will fit the theme a little bit of, like, being all corrupted, and it's a little spooky and stuff. And yeah, loose hair in my mouth. And we'll see what happens from there. All in all, I did like Prime 2. And now I've got pinball on the mind. This is really good. Awesome work there. Frank Tedesco. Nearly a decade ago now. Craziness. So, yeah. There was that. Debating on doing HalloLand. I assume, like, HalloLand there. This is the only post that I've seen about it. Mega FPS does have a Facebook page. If I go to it, am I going to be logged in? I don't really want to dox my name if so. Let's use something I never use then. Edge. Mega FPS. Oh, gross Bing. What are these? I've seen no mention of it on their actual... Oh, no, they did post it. On August 14th. The last time I checked, they didn't have any post of it. Okay, so it is, like, officially announced then. Now, past just the video here is the case. Okay. Yeah. HalloLand 2024. Yeah, a decent bit late. What does this say? The night I hate how this is here until you log in. The night assists me and he's, I don't know. The Megaland events used to be $20 per person, but with like it's not a for-profit thing. It's a not-for-profit like Fragapalooza that's focusing on just bringing people together and having fun first and foremost. And they do give away like a decent few prizes there as well. And then plus like the fees of like renting the venue and all the equipment and all that and inflation. Like, they were debating about upping it earlier this year with Janland and Megaland, but they were like, let's just keep it, like, 20 for, like, tradition's sake, because it was, like, some special anniversary after having done it so long, I think. But then they were like, yeah, the next one we're gonna start making it 30. Is the case. But yeah, free breakfast is potluck too, so 30 isn't too bad. Oh yeah, there is the breakfast that is included there as well. And with the potluck, I didn't realize that that was going on. Like, the first time that I went, I felt bad about, like, not bringing anything. I did bring things for Megaland. And my cousin's advice was to bring buns, and that's what I set out to do. Because lots of people bring lots of things that are good to put in buns, but not that many people have the idea of just, like, bringing buns. So, yeah, at HoloLand, I might just go to, like, Costco and just buy, like, one of those mega packs of buns and bring that there, and then that's, like, my contribution. Something is what I might do. So, yeah, it's posted, and I would like to do that there. So, yeah, I would like to do Metroid Prime 3 there, because it does fit. Oh man, this medley is so good. It does fit like a semi-spookier kind of thing. Would Metroid Prime 2 be the spookiest out of the Metroid Prime games? Like, there's a whole theme of corruption with Prime 3. I don't know. My current plan is to do that there. I might change my mind and do a different one of the semi-spooky games that's on my backlog. But Metroid Prime is the stuff that I for sure have to get done because, like, Prime 4 is coming out next year. Create an event. But yeah, the Mega LAN events are pretty fun. Or the Mega FPS events are kind of fun. Like, much smaller venue than Fragapalooza. It's definitely the case. But they're pretty chill. And they're really nice for people like me that do a lot of stuff at Frag, because it's an excuse to just actually chill and play games and not spend, like, half of the event organizing stuff. This is the event where Fragapalooza people get to come and just actually play games. Instead of play games for half of the event. And it was really funny at Mega LAN. They do the giveaways based on, like, you come in, you do, like, your entry, you get, like, a ticket, and they'll just do, like, draws based on ticket numbers. And so many of the Frag staff ended up getting prizes at the most recent event. Was it at Mega LAN or at Jan LAN? It was one of the two. Anyway, Frag staff got a lot of prizes, including me. I won a monitor at Jan LAN, I think it was. I got the monitor, and I used that during the Smash tournaments. But people were joking at the latest Mega FPS event, like, oh, these are all just gonna end up as prizes at Fragapalooza then. They're giving away as prizes here at the Mega FPS event because all the Frag staff are winning them. I guess they're just gonna be giving away as prizes at Fragapalooza in a few months' time. I don't know if any of them were, but it was a kind of funny idea. Am I over there somewhere? You can see my two monitors. All fancy schmancy there. It's cool, some of the camera angles and stuff that they got. But yeah, so Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. Probably going to be here. Probably. We shall see. And yeah, Prime Pinball. Maybe it'll be at West Edmonton Mall. We'll see. Either way, they'll be in some interesting places. When Prime 4 eventually comes out, that'll probably just be here, because its release probably won't line up with any interesting events going on. Like, that's a nice thing about things that are already released that I don't have to play. Like, well, I don't have to play new releases right as they release, but I prefer to. But with things that have already released where it's like, there is no striking while the iron is hot, really. It's just stream it whenever. I get the chance to do them at, like, cool venues. What the heck am I listening to right now? I really like the Hellion Vendrana Drifts remix. So I'll play that for a little bit. I don't know if there's anything much else to say here, really. Like, I guess I can briefly mention again, it would have been really nice to have this go start to finish at Fragapalooza 2024. Like I had initially planned. Things didn't quite work out, and it's taken me like 3 weeks after Fragapalooza to beat it now, even though it only took 2 more streams, just because I've been so busy. So, unfortunately, that couldn't be start to finish there, but got through it. I am happy with how it went. I did have fun with that game, and I am looking forward to seeing how this Prime series continues. I am genuinely hyped for Prime 4. I am in the camp of looking forward to that game, because I have enjoyed both Prime 1 and Prime 2 at this point. And, like, I am genuinely excited to play Prime 3, because I have enjoyed these games. So, when the time comes to play this, not yet, because I don't have the time. We gotta do Pinball first. But when the time comes, I am very much looking forward to that. That should definitely be lots of fun. So, yeah, I greatly appreciate everyone that's tuned into this Metroid series thus far, or anybody that could potentially be following up to see how this ended after Fragapalooza, in case there's anyone that actually decides to check out, like, the Fragapalooza playlist and go through, like, that little adventure. Then, a little bit of an unsatisfying end when we didn't actually finish off the game that was ongoing here. So, in case there's ever, like, a singular maniac that's like, I'm gonna watch all the Fragapalooza stuff start to finish. Oh, that didn't finish Metroid Prime 2, I'm gonna finish watching it as, like, its own standalone thing. Then, hey, appreciate you doing that. I don't know if anyone will ever do that. I'm still a pretty small content creator, so I don't know if that'll ever be the case with anyone. But in case anyone is part of that camp, then hey, So anyone that's watching this as part of Metroid Prime 2 or the Metroid series or Fragapalooza or just randomly clicked this video and has somehow not gotten bored with me rambling about pinball for the past 2 hours, then appreciate you tuning into this. But I'm going to head out of here for now and probably get some rest, I think. Fragapalooza was a lot of fun. I am glad that the main adventure going on during it is done now. Next year, I am definitely going to organize the Smash tournaments a whole lot better and get some help with them, because it was a bit much this year. So I'm definitely going to change how I handle that next year. Maybe Metroid Other M should be what I play as the main game for Fragapalooza 2025. No, I don't think I will. It would be really funny, but let's maybe not. Wow, is it ever lagging as it switches screens. Hope you like that one delayed shot that looked like super flattering for me there. Yeah, anyway. Once again, greatly appreciate everybody that tuned into the stream here or this series. I'm gonna, like, probably just cut this up into parts tonight, I think. Like, I'm still awake enough. And then go to bed here pretty shortly, is what I think I'll do. We'll see how many parts this ends up becoming. I'm gonna stream for about 5 hours, but a lot of this is gonna be like one mega part at the end. So with those keys, that's 37 videos right now. I'm going to estimate that this is going to be about a 44, 45 part series for Metroid Prime 2. That's my estimation right now. But we'll see how this cuts up into parts and see if I'm on the money with that. And also, speaking of, one last thing before I wrap up here. For comparison, this clearly took me longer than Prime 1, if you consider parts-wise. If I scroll down on my Metroid playlist, when I played Prime 1, I'm pretty sure it was a 32-part series. Let's see here. When it loads properly. My first playthrough of Prime 1, yes, it was a 32-part series. And then when I replayed Prime 1, like with Prime Remastered, it was a 25-part series. I did it significantly faster because I'd played the game once before. I knew how to do it faster. But this, already being at 37, plus however much this cuts up into, bringing it to like 44 or 45. I think this is the longest Metroid series I've done on the channel yet, actually, is what this is. Everything's been short. How long was Metroid Dread? That was like 25 or something as well, right? Yeah, Metroid Dread was 25, is what it was. Yeah, that, I didn't realize that before. Yeah, Super Metroid was 18, Metroid Fusion was 16. The Metroid series usually aren't super long. So, yeah, that's something that I'm only just now realizing. This is the longest Metroid series I've done yet. Apparently, Metroid Prime 3 is going to be shorter. Maybe Metroid Prime 4 will become like the new longest one when it comes out. But for now, this is the new record for Metroid around here. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. That's all. Until next time when we're playing Pinball. Also, Torvis Clockwork, Metroid Prime 2 Echoes by Fire of the Night. I like this. Turn that up. I'm digging this remix here. This was uploaded 16 years ago. Jeez. Not too long after Metroid Prime 2 would have come out. Wow. This would have been before Metroid Prime 3 came out, this remix. Anyway, I keep on delaying this. I'm done. I'm done streaming. I'm calling it. I'm not talking anymore. Goodbye. See you later, jerks.